So welcome back. Now I'm going to explain it to you, or can you tell me where are the variables? I know it's a little difficult. Well, there are three variables here. One is A here, right? One is B and one is C. So there are three variables there, A, B and C. And then you can see that there is something written in front of them here, right? That is the type of variables they are. These are integer variables. There are four types of integer variables: long, then int, then byte and short. So there are four types of variables there when it comes to integer variables. And what is the difference between them? The size. The biggest is long, then integer, then byte, then short. So there are four types of variables there when it comes to integer. Then we also have two floating point types. They are float and double, and they are used for storing decimal values. Decimal values they are used for storing. Okay, so those are the variables here, A, B and C. Now what is a variable? A variable is a container that contains a changeable value. That value can be changed, right? Otherwise the value that cannot be changed is a constant, or known as a literal in Java. A variable name can consist of, there are certain rules how you define the variables. A variable name can consist of, capital letters, A to Z, lowercase letters, digits. There are two special characters that are allowed, underscore and dollar sign. And the first character will always be a letter, small or capital doesn't matter. Blank space is not allowed. Java keywords like class, void, static, public, they are not allowed. Any name that is used in the language, a keyword. Variable names are case sensitive. Uppercase and lowercase means different. Like if you look at it here, name and name, these are two different variables. They look the same, but they are not same. Okay, they are not same because they are capital and small letters there. Some valid variable names here. Name, okay, because it is beginning with the letter. This one also begins with the letter. This one also begins with the letter. And hello is also beginning with the letter, right? So you can have a combination of digits and special characters and like here basic salary, basic underscore salary is allowed. Hello dollar is also allowed. But invalid variables, why invalid? Basic, because it is beginning with a special character, not allowed. Space in total marks is not allowed. Then this dot is also not allowed. So those are invalid variables. Now let's come to a very important thing, and that is the scope of variables. The scope of variables means where a variable is basically visible. A variable that is declared within the method, that is called a local variable. If you see here, we have a method here show, and then we have a variable here value. It is declared inside this method, this bracket and this bracket here. Therefore it is a local variable. If you will try to use it outside those two brackets, well, it will give you an error, which means it is not visible outside and you can't see it outside. So that is a local variable for you. Then you have instance variable. So here salary is an instance variable, which means that it is basically available to the entire class starting from there till there, and therefore it basically works as a global variable also. So that's instance variable for you. Now let's move on to another type, and that is static variable. A variable that is declared with the static keyword but declared just after the class is a static variable. If you see that, that is a static variable. Okay, and what is the difference? Instance variables hold values that must be referenced by more than one method, which means more than one method can use it. So I told you, if there are 50 methods in a class, all 50 methods can use that. Okay, or essential parts of an object state that must be present throughout the class. That's what it is. It's a global variable for that class. Static variables would only be one copy of each class variable per class, regardless of how many objects are created inside the class. And the important thing is that the static variable will begin with this letter called, the word called static. So those are static variables. Now, the important thing is, how do we actually declare other types of variables? So if you have a string variable, the string is also allowed, though string is not a data type. So we declare string variables like this in double quotes, and I can write here HELLO, hello. So that is a string variable. How do we declare character variables? We'll write CHAR and single quotes. So what is the difference between a string and, first of all, a string will begin with this word string and character will begin with CHAR. The string variables are enclosed in double quotes, whereas the character variables are enclosed in single quotes. Very important, single quotes. Okay. And then you have double like supposedly salary, SALARY, and then I can say 0.5894, whatever. Okay, so decimal values are stored like that. Okay, so, and how do we do boolean? So we'll write boolean there, and then maybe B, they can hold two values, true or false. So we said true here, right? So that's a boolean variable, either true or false it can hold, but the default value is false. If you only say B, boolean B, and if you remove this, then the value that it holds is actually false by default. So these are the types of variables we have. The difference is in the size basically. Okay, I hope it is clear now what variables are. All this is available on Moodle as well, so you, or on my YouTube channel, so you can go to any of those and I'll be coming up with more video lessons.